My name is Carolyn Warren. I go by Caw Shirley, C-A-W Shirley, on all the social media outlets, Plurk, Twitter, Ravelry, I believe even Facebook. And this is my little foray into podcasting. There's tons out there, and they're all so great. And I kept thinking, well, I want to do one too, but at the same time, what can I do that somebody else hasn't already done? Then I realized here in the last week that I'm going to be starting this crazy idea that I had with this biggest loser contest at school. And knitting is such a sedentary activity that surely I am not the only knitter out there that feels like we should lose a few pounds. So that's my goal, is to both talk about what I'm knitting, but also to talk about what my fitness journey is. I've never felt like I've been fit in my entire life, and so hopefully I will become fit before the end of this crazy journey. So a few notes. Like I said, this is my first podcast ever, so if I make weird mistakes or you hear dogs barking in the background because I do have some mongrels, please forgive me. The lighting might be a little crazy. Again, this is my first time to do this, so that just bear with me on that. And I do have my notes, so if you see me glancing to the side, they're also on my computer, so I'm glancing at the various things that I want to talk about. So I will talk about my knitting first, because that's my current obsession, and the fitness is something that scares me at the moment. So I like talking about finished objects first, and the one I'm most proud of is my new Starving Artist hat. I love the colors. I love the pops of green in it. I'll put it on. It's actually not for me. It's actually for Amy. Yay! I just love it. And this yarn that I used for it is actually yarn Amy hand dyed, which is why Amy got the hat that it was made out of. And when we were dyeing the yarn at our local yarn shop, Hank of Yarn in North Mississippi, one of the ladies that we were dyeing with nicknamed the yarn Deep End of the Frog Pond. So I call this Amy's Starving Froggy. And the Starving Artist hat is a Laura Lindman pattern. It was super easy. I really enjoyed making it. It knit up super quick. Everybody at work that I showed it to was saying, oh wow, didn't you just dye that yarn? And I did, and it just knit up real fast. Any of you who've knit that pattern know that. The other thing that I have been knitting constantly, it has just been like, I'm bored with all the other knitting, so let me grab this and pick it up. And I blame Karen from Around the Twist for it, because I started doing this after watching her do it on her podcast. It's the Grandma's Favorite Dishcloth, and I've knit one in red, and I've knit one in sort of a peach stripe. Can you see the stripes? And then I've also knit one in a pink variegated that turned out gorgeous because you can actually see the pink striping. And I have all of this posted on Ravelry. I also have it on my blog. I have a blog website that's girlfriendsknitting.blogspot.com. And the idea behind the name for the blog was that that's how I learned to knit, was just a girlfriend of mine showing me how to knit one day. And I love the little clip of Julia Roberts saying, all you need to learn how to knit is a girlfriend who can teach you. So that's where I got the idea, and you can see all my finished objects and my works in progress there on the site. So let's go to works in progress. The first one that I'm going to show you is another hat. It's for my brother, and it's going to be really hard to see because it's just going to look like a big black blob. It is actually gorgeous. Can you see the cabling at all? No, it just looks like a big black blob. It is a Ysolda Teague pattern called Strawn. I believe that's the correct way of saying it. And I have loved knitting this big black blob. And I need to knit it a few inches longer, and then you put a solid bill in it. And so that solid bill actually forms, you know, a bill on the baseball cap type of thing. And so my brother's calling it his snowboarding hat, though I think it's going to be too small for him, and so my lovely nephew Jake might end up with his dad's hat. And then I'll have to knit my brother a hat, which he's actually okay with because I got some gorgeous alpaca yarn for Christmas, and I promised him that if this hat doesn't fit, I'll knit the exact same hat for him, but out of that alpaca. So I think he's actually hoping that this hat doesn't fit. I'm also obsessed with socks. I blame that on Laura from the Knit Girls because Laura is actually local to me and taught me how to knit socks. And I mentioned that for two reasons. One, because she was the one who taught me to knit socks, and two, because the sock I have right here is the slant sock in Haunted Vineyard by Cloud Lover. I love the yarn. I love the pattern. And this is for the Knit Girls Knit Along. And here is actually one of my finished socks. I actually really like how it's striped. And the pattern has a swirl to it in the ribbing and the little loop over stitches. You can see the little swirl. And then the yarn actually swirled right along with it. And so that just made me so happy. And so I'm on the cuff of the second sock, so that's coming along pretty well. So I'm excited about seeing how that works out. But then I wanted something easy, and I also was dyeing yarn along with everybody else at the knit shop and having an absolute blast. And I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so I wanted to knit something in the house colors, so the red for Gryffindor and the green for Slytherin, the blue for Ravenclaw, the yellow for Hufflepuff. And so it ended up kind of rainbowish, not exactly like I had in mind when I knit it, but I still really like it. It's wound up into just a ball by hand because I wanted to knit it last night and I didn't have my ball winder handy. So this is what it looks like. It looks like a big hot mess. And this is the beginning of Hermione's Everyday Sock. And let's see, that's Erica Loudner. I'm not sure if I'm saying that last name right or not. But this is the ribbing for that sock. And it's just kind of all various color all together. And I'm kind of liking it. It looks kind of strange, but I don't know, I'm kind of liking it. And it reminds me of those like 70s rugby socks that were white with the yellow stripe and then the red stripe and then the blue and then the green. And those are basically the colors as well. So I'm calling it Hermione's Quidditch sock because she wouldn't have played rugby, she'd have played Quidditch. So this is Hermione's Quidditch sock. And I'm just having fun playing with that one. Then I'm going to show you this work in progress because I want you to hold me to actually finishing it. I started it with a knit along with Lion Brand, but I didn't use Lion Brand. Sorry. I loved the pattern. That's why I started it to begin with. It was the Wisteria shawl collar sweater. First sweater I was ever going to venture into. I'm not a new knitter, but I never really ventured out of my box of scarves and hats and things like that. And so this last 6 months I've been venturing out and learning socks and sweaters and having an absolute blast. So this rainbow concoction, I guess you can say I like wild, crazy things. No, that is not your computer screen. This is actually that wild and crazy. Looks great with jeans though. And that's my idea, is I'm going to finish this up for jeans. I have the front done. I have the back done. This is one sleeve. And I have about this much of the other sleeve because in the pattern it suggests, and on the knit along, they suggested that you knit both sleeves at the same time. That didn't happen. Started off, like they said, long circular needle, doing both at the same time. And the idea is that they're supposed to stay the same length. They don't. At least not when I'm the one knitting them. One was about so long, the other one was about this long, and it's because I kept going back and forth on one and forgetting that I had to switch yarns and go over to the other one. So the ladies at the knit shop helped, and I took them off the needles, put them back on separate needles, and now have this much done of one sleeve. I'm almost to doing the shoulder shaping on that sleeve. And then I have about 9 inches on the other sleeve, so I have quite a ways to go on the other sleeve. But the problem is, just knitting the pieces isn't enough. You have to knit all these pieces, which that I'm okay with. But then you have to put them all together. I can sew decently, so we're going to be okay there. I'm just going to get a little bit of help. But then you have to knit this big, gorgeous shawl collar that goes in the front. So we're going to see how that goes. But I'm desperate wanting to finish it. I don't care if it's middle of August. I'm going to finish this sweater. I actually like it, but I get sidetracked. I'm very easily distracted, and so I've been getting myself sidetracked on that. So that's about it for knitting right now. So let's talk about fitness, which is the other half of this. So I'm 35. I have never been fit in my entire life. Have always wanted to, but never worked out for me. Tried numerous times, personal trainers, all different types of programs, every diet and weight loss thing you can think of. I did it. I even have done the Biggest Loser at school before because my school is all about healthy campus and all this stuff, which is excellent. And I signed up before and I did good for me, but not good in terms of what anybody else would consider good. So they're having a new one, and what I really like about this program is you're going to have weekly meetings that you have to attend where they'll talk about nutrition and stuff like that. And then they're going to have 3 workout sessions a week, 3 for faculty and 3 for students. I'm a faculty member at a community college here in North Mississippi. So I'm very excited about that. That's going to start on February 8th. So I'll talk more about that as I go and as I experience how that works out. I'll tell you about that and how that goes and what my progress is. I actually have to do a weigh-in on February 8th, and I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to share what my actual weight is so that I can tell you what the actual progress is, or if I'm just going to each week tell you pounds lost. We'll see. And then some friends of mine and I are getting together. One of them is really good at yoga and knows how to teach yoga, and so several of us are going to get together and start doing yoga as well. So that should be at least 4 days a week that I'm working out, and then that should be 1 day a week that I'm doing like a nutrition kind of class, and then I'll tell y'all each week about how that all went and what my progress was. And then I'll be knitting to keep myself sane in the middle of wanting to claw my hair out because I can't eat all the junk food I want. So we'll see how that goes. I hope you have a good week. Stay safe and stress-free and enjoy knitting. See you next week.